Hobo Rider back here with you, and I want to share a little experience that happened to me the other day, and hopefully the way I went about it will be an advantage to you if it ever happens to you, because we're all going to drop bikes. If you ride long enough, you're going to drop a bike, and that's what happened to me the other day as I came out of the cafe. The bike where I parked it was a little bit low on the left hand side, so when I brought it back up and went to kick the foot stand back up, I kind of lost the balance and the bike went over, and in the process of the bike going over, it fractured the Givy plastic box back here, but more importantly it shattered off the foot peg, your gear shifting foot peg. Ended up with a whole bunch of little small pieces like this. So what are you going to do? It's very difficult to try to shift the bike without having the foot peg there. So no foot peg. So what am I going to do? That's what I'd like to be able to share with you. If this ever happens to you, give you some opportunities or maybe some other ways of thinking about it and being able to continue on your way until you can actually get the proper parts to do it. So with that, we're going to dive into what I did. So this is what the foot peg actually looked like once I picked up all the pieces off the ground. Asking myself, well, this foot peg is obviously not going to work. So what am I going to do so that I actually have a foot peg so that I can shift this bike and continue down the road until I can get the proper parts. So this is where the original foot peg was here, and here's your gear shifter obviously. So as I stated before, it's very difficult to be able to use your shifter without a foot peg. Can it be done? Yes. Do you want to be trying to do that for a long time? Probably not. So I want to show you what I did. This actually is the foot peg from the opposite side, and it fits in here. It's upside down. It's not like the other one was, but nonetheless it's a good solid flat place for your foot so that you can continue to use the shifter in a proper manner. I'll switch to the other side of the bike and you can see what I did there to give you some kind of ideas as to, if it happens to you, what you can do. So now we're on the opposite side of the bike, and as you can see, I removed the foot peg here for the brake. This is your brake obviously, and I removed the foot peg from here to swap over so that you could use it for shifting purposes. So now you're asking yourself, this gets even more interesting. The only place you can rest your foot is on the shroud for the exhaust, which that's not the best way to do it. So what I ended up doing is I ended up taking this foot peg for the passenger off, and if you'll notice, the hole here is much larger, but nonetheless what I've done is I take this, the foot peg, and I slide this one in, and then just to be on the safe side, what I've done, or what I do, is I actually take some duct tape or electrician's tape in this case, and just tape that pin in place because it's too short to actually put a cotter key in the back of it. Nonetheless, this is a temporary fix, and this is so that you can get down the road. So now, not only do you have a foot peg for the shifter side, but you also have a foot peg for your brake side here. So that was my solution, how to go about fixing this particular problem so that I could go down the road until I can get proper parts. And of course, proper parts along some of your travels, that's a whole different ball game in itself. But nonetheless, this is how I approached the problem. Once again, took the foot peg out for the back rider, put it into here, gives you a foot peg for your brake. Take this one, the original one, off of here, put it on the other side upside down. Make sure you put your cotter key and washer in place on that one so that it stays in place. And now you've solved the problem until you can come up with a better answer, which the better answer would be to replace the parts with the original parts when you can find them. Well, I'd like to bring this to conclusion, and I hope the information and the way I went about solving this problem might be a benefit to you if this ever happens to you. We all drop bikes, and we're probably going to drop some more bikes. It's never a fun deal when you drop a bike. But nonetheless, just don't forget that there are other options on the bike that you can use in a temporary manner to give you a foot peg if you need, if you fracture one off like I did there, so that you can solve the problem, get on down the road until you can actually order a proper part. With that, I'd like to give a little shout out for the Honda dealership in Mae Chai here. I believe it's called Green Wing Honda, but nonetheless, I went in there, a little small dealership. They went to their books, they ordered me the part, and probably will have it in another 2 days. So a nice little shout out to those folks there at Mae Chai at Green Wing Honda. with that, just remember, there's a lot of different options. Just look around on your bike and see what might work and what might not work. And nonetheless, you got to come up with a solution, because you can't ride a bike without your foot pegs. It gets to be very, very difficult, and it's not safe. Additionally, I'd like to also give a little shout out to my YouTube channel, and that is James Herbert, aka Hobo Rider, because that is what they call me here in Southeast Asia, and it's a name that stuck with me all the way through South America. The other site that I have, which is my professional site, it's called witchesbrewproductions.com, and that Witches Brew is all one word. I hope you'll check out my work there, and I look forward to seeing you in the future, and hopefully not with foot peg issues. With that, Hobo Rider, looking back at you another time. Also, on a little side note, I'd like to highly recommend that in your toolkit, if you will, for your motorcycle, carry this with you. It's called JB Weld, and this particular epoxy is a steel epoxy. And I can't think of any product that I've ever used that works as well as this stuff does on anything. It's just a nice fix-all, whether it be temporary or permanent. It seems to work really, really well in a lot of different situations. For in your toolkit, make sure you get some JB Weld before you leave wherever you're leaving, if you can find it, and keep it in your toolkit, because it comes in handy.